In the year 2347, humanity had finally achieved what many thought was impossible. After centuries of struggling to reach the stars, Earth joined the Galactic Council, an alliance of advanced civilizations spread across the galaxy. This was a moment of pride for everyone on Earth. People celebrated in the streets, and leaders gave speeches about unity and progress. Admiral Lucas Hart, a tall man with sharp eyes and a calm demeanor, led the human fleet that now worked alongside the Council's forces. Ambassador Clara Bennett, a smart and determined woman, represented Earth in diplomatic meetings with alien species. Together, they were the face of humanity among the stars. But not everything was as it seemed. Deep in space, near a distant star called Proxima Centauri, Clara found herself exploring an old alien archive. The Galactic Council claimed the site was abandoned, but Clara had her doubts. She walked through dimly lit corridors, filled with strange symbols glowing faintly on the walls. Her suit's helmet reflected the soft light as she moved carefully, her boots making quiet echoes in the silence. Behind her, two guards kept watch, their weapons ready just in case. Clara wasn't there by accident. A week earlier, she'd received a tip from an unknown source. The message was vague but alarming. The truth about humanity's role in the Council lies in the archives. At first, she dismissed it as nonsense, but something gnawed at her. What if the Council wasn't telling the whole story? What if humanity wasn't truly considered an equal partner? These questions haunted her until she decided to investigate herself. As she dug deeper into the archive, Clara stumbled upon a hidden terminal buried under layers of dust. With trembling hands, she activated it. The screen flickered to life, displaying rows of encrypted files. It took hours, but eventually, she cracked the code. What she saw made her blood run cold. The files revealed that the Galactic Council had never intended for humanity to be an equal member. Instead, Earth was seen as a resource, a planet rich in minerals and genetic material that could be exploited for experiments. Worse still, the Council planned to use humans as disposable soldiers in future wars against rival factions. Clara felt sick. All this time, she and others like her had believed they were building bridges between worlds. But the truth was far darker. Humanity had been misled, manipulated into joining an alliance that viewed them as little more than tools. She knew she couldn't stay silent. If the Council discovered what she'd learned, they would stop at nothing to silence her. With shaking hands, Clara copied the files onto a secure data chip. Then she sent an urgent message to Admiral Lucas Hart aboard the starship *EOS*. "Lucas," she said over the comms, her voice low and urgent, "we've been lied to. The Council doesn't see us as equals. We're pawns to them. I have proof, but we need to leave. Now." Lucas listened carefully, his expression growing darker with each word. He trusted Clara completely, and if she said the situation was dire, he believed her. Without hesitation, he ordered the *EOS* to prepare for departure. Normally, leaving Council space required clearance, but there was no time for bureaucracy. "Set course for the edge of their territory," he told the crew, "and don't bother asking permission." As the *EOS* broke orbit, alarms blared across the Council's communication network. Ships began moving toward their location, and Lucas knew they were running out of time. Back on the archive planet, Clara hurried toward her shuttle, heart pounding. She glanced over her shoulder, half expecting Council agents to appear at any moment. For the first time in her life, she understood the weight of fear and the burden of carrying a secret that could change everything. The *EOS* jumped into hyperspace, leaving behind the glowing blue trails of faster-than-light travel. Inside the ship, tension crackled like static electricity. Admiral Lucas Hart stood on the bridge, his arms crossed as he stared at the main screen showing their course. The crew worked quickly, checking systems and preparing for whatever might come next. Everyone knew they were in uncharted territory now. By disobeying the Galactic Council's rules, they had become fugitives. Clara Bennett sat in a small conference room nearby, her eyes glued to the data chip she'd brought from the archive. She scrolled through file after file, piecing together more details about the Council's plans. Her hands trembled slightly as she read about something called Project Eclipse. It was a secret initiative designed to experiment with human DNA, using it to create super soldiers. The thought made her stomach churn. Humanity wasn't just being used for resources. They were being turned into weapons without even knowing it. Lucas entered the room quietly, pulling up a chair beside her. "Anything new?" he asked, his voice calm but firm. Clara nodded, pushing the tablet toward him. "It's worse than we thought," she said softly. "They'd been studying us for decades, mapping our genetics. They think humans are special, adaptable. That's why they wanted us in the Council." Lucas frowned, leaning back in his seat. "Special doesn't sound so bad," he said cautiously. "It's not good either," Clara replied sharply. "They don't see us as equals. To them, we're lab rats. Disposable." She paused, taking a deep breath. "We need to get this information out, Lucas. If people on Earth find out what's really going on, they'll never trust the Council again." Before Lucas could respond, an alarm blared through the ship. The lights dimmed briefly as the crew scrambled to identify the threat. On the main screen, dozens of red dots appeared, marking the positions of Council ships converging on their last known location. They weren't safe yet. "We've got company," announced Chief Engineer Ryan Keller, his voice tight with worry. He was a wiry man with greasy hair and a perpetual frown, but no one doubted his skill when it came to keeping the EO's running smoothly. "Their patrols are moving fast. We can't outrun them forever." Lucas clenched his jaw. "How much time do we have?" "Not enough," Ryan shot back. "Maybe 20 minutes before they pinpoint us." Clara looked up, panic flickering in her eyes. "We can't let them catch us. Not with this." She held up the data chip, its small size belying the weight of its contents. Mia Dawson, the communications officer, leaned over her console. Her curly brown hair was tied back in a messy bun, and sweat beaded on her forehead as she worked. Suddenly, her face lit up. "Sir, I'm picking up a transmission. It's faint, almost like someone doesn't want to be heard." Lucas stepped closer. "Can you clean it up?" After a few tense moments, Maya played the message. The distorted voice spoke slowly. "To whoever finds this, don't trust anyone outside your circle. Seek the Orion Syndicate. Coordinates follow." The recording ended abruptly, leaving the room silent. "The Orion Syndicate," Lucas repeated, raising an eyebrow. "Aren't they criminals?" Clara shrugged. "Criminals or not, they might be our only hope right now. Whoever sent that message knew we'd need help." Lucas hesitated, then nodded. "Set a course for those coordinates. Let's see if these criminals are willing to lend a hand." As the EO's adjusted its trajectory, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that they were walking straight into another danger. Still, anything was better than falling back into the Council's grasp. For now, all they could do was hold on and hope that allies, or at least temporary refuge, waited for them at the other end of their journey. The EO's emerged from hyperspace near a crumbling space station that floated silently in the void. Its metal hull was scarred with age, and parts of it looked like they might fall apart at any moment. This was the meeting point given in the mysterious transmission. Clara gripped the edge of her seat as she stared out the viewport, her heart racing. Was this a trap, or would they really find help here? Admiral Lucas Hart stood beside her, his arms crossed tightly over his chest. "Stay sharp," he said to the crew. "We don't know what's waiting for us." The tension on the bridge was thick enough to cut with a knife. Everyone knew how risky this was. If the Galactic Council found them here, there'd be no escape. As they approached the station, a small ship detached itself from one of the docking bays and headed toward them. It was sleek but patched together, clearly belonging to someone who valued function over form. When it came close enough, a gruff voice crackled over the comms. This is Ethan Cole of the Orion Syndicate. You're either very brave or very stupid showing up here. Which is it? Lucas stepped forward, his tone steady. We're neither. We're desperate. And we need your help. There was a pause before Ethan replied. Desperation, I understand. Docket Bay 7. But if you try anything funny, my people will make sure you regret it. Minutes later, Lucas, Clara, and 2 guards stepped off the Yaws and onto the station. The air smelled stale, and the lighting was dim, casting long shadows across the walls. Waiting for them was Ethan Cole himself, a tall, broad-shouldered man with scruffy blonde hair and piercing green eyes. He wore a leather jacket covered in patches, and a blaster hung casually at his side. Behind him stood a group of rough-looking individuals, their expressions unreadable. So, Ethan began, crossing his arms, what makes you think the Syndicate wants anything to do with you? Clara stepped forward, holding out the data chip, because we have proof that the Galactic Council has been lying to everyone, not just humanity. They've been using us as tools, experimenting on our DNA, planning wars without telling anyone. If you care about freedom, you'll help us expose them. Ethan raised an eyebrow, glancing at the chip. For a moment, he didn't say anything. Then he sighed and motioned for his team to lower their weapons. You picked a hell of a time to go rogue, he muttered. But I get it. The Council screwed me too. They destroyed my homeworld, said it was for pacification. Turns out, it was just easier to wipe us out than deal with us. Lucas exchanged a glance with Clara. Maybe they weren't completely alone after all. Ethan led them deeper into the station, explaining that the Syndicate operated in the gray areas of galactic law. They smuggled goods, brokered deals, and occasionally fought back against the Council when it suited them. I won't lie, he said, leaning against a table. Helping you isn't going to be easy. The Council has eyes everywhere. But if you're serious about taking them down, I can guide you through sectors they don't control. Clara nodded eagerly. We're serious. More than you know. Ethan studied her for a moment, then turned to Lucas. All right, Admiral. Here's the deal. I'll take you where you need to go, but you follow my rules. No heroics, no second-guessing me. Got it. Lucas hesitated, then extended his hand. Deal. With the uneasy alliance formed, Ethan gave orders to prepare his ship, the Shadow Fox for departure. As the crews worked together, mistrust lingered in the air. Ryan Keller, the chief engineer, muttered under his breath about relying on criminals, while some of Ethan's crew openly mocked the disciplined military personnel. Despite the tension, both sides knew they needed each other, for now. As the ships prepared to leave the station, Clara couldn't shake the feeling that they were stepping into even greater danger. But for the first time since discovering the truth, she felt a flicker of hope. With Ethan's help, they might actually stand a chance. The journey through uncharted space was tense and exhausting. The Yaws and the Shadow Fox traveled side by side, their crews constantly on edge. Everyone knew the Galactic Council could catch up at any moment. Clara spent most of her time in the Yaws conference room, studying the stolen data. She hoped to find something, anything, that might give them an advantage. Lucas, meanwhile, tried to keep the crew focused, but whispers of doubt were spreading. Chief Engineer Ryan Keller was one of the loudest voices of concern. He often muttered to Communications Officer Mia Dawson about how reckless this whole mission was. We're running from the most powerful force in the galaxy, he said one night in the mess hall. What's the point? We can't win against them. Mia frowned, stirring her drink. Do you really think surrendering is better? If what Clara found is true, the Council would just erase us. At least this way, we have a chance. Ryan shook his head. A slim one. And who says these criminals won't betray us the first chance they get? His words planted seeds of fear in Mia's mind. That night, she couldn't sleep. Instead, She went to the bridge and quietly reported Ryan's comments to Lucas. The Admiral listened carefully, his face unreadable. "Keep an eye on him," he told her, "but don't act unless you're sure." Tensions only grew worse when the ships entered a dense asteroid field. The rocky debris made navigation difficult, and the constant jolts kept everyone on edge. Then, disaster struck. A swarm of Council drones appeared out of nowhere, firing relentlessly at the fleet. Alarms blared as both ships scrambled to evade the attack. "Shields are down to 40%, shouted one of the officers aboard the *EOS*. "We can't take much more of this." Ethan's voice crackled over the comms. His ship darted between asteroids, narrowly avoiding blasts. Lucas clenched his fists. "Ryan, get the engines back online. We need speed." But the damage was severe. Sparks flew across the engineering deck as Ryan worked frantically to repair the systems. "I'm doing my best," he yelled back. Amid the chaos, Clara realized someone had been leaking their coordinates. How else could the Council have found them so quickly? She confronted Lucas with her suspicions. "It has to be someone on our side," she said urgently. "Someone who doesn't believe in this fight anymore." Lucas nodded grimly. "I'll handle it." While the battle raged outside, Ethan discovered the real traitor, a member of his own crew. The man had been transmitting signals without anyone noticing. When confronted, he confessed that the Council had promised him safety in exchange for information. Without hesitation, Ethan ended the betrayal himself, leaving his crew shaken but resolved. With the traitor gone, the group managed to regroup and launch a counterattack. Using the asteroids as cover, they lured the drones into traps, destroying several of them. Finally, the remaining drones retreated, leaving the battered ships to limp away. Back aboard the *EOS*, Clara looked around at the exhausted faces of the crew. They had survived, for now. But trust was harder to repair than damaged hulls. As Mia tended to a cut on her forehead, she caught Ryan watching her. For a brief moment, guilt flashed in his eyes. Whatever doubts he'd harbored seemed to fade under the weight of what they'd just endured. Lucas walked onto the bridge, his expression calm but firm. "We've lost too much already," he said, "but we're still alive. And as long as we're breathing, we fight." Clara nodded, clutching the data chip tightly. No matter the cost, they had to keep going. The truth was worth every sacrifice. Guided by fragments of maps found in the stolen archives, the fleet headed toward a mysterious planet hidden deep in uncharted space. The journey was long and tense, with everyone aware that the Council could still be tracking them. Clara spent hours poring over the data, trying to make sense of the ancient symbols and coordinates. "This place, it's not on any modern star charts," she told Lucas one evening. Whoever built it didn't want anyone to find it. When they finally arrived, the planet loomed before them, a desolate world covered in jagged mountains and swirling mist. Strange energy pulses rippled through the atmosphere, making communication difficult. Ethan frowned as he studied the readings from the Shadow Fox *. "This doesn't feel right," he muttered. "If the Council sent drones after us, why would they leave this place unprotected?" "Maybe they don't know about it," Clara suggested. "Or maybe they're afraid of what's down there." Lucas gave the order to land near a massive structure half buried in the rocky terrain. As they stepped onto the surface, the air felt heavy, almost suffocating. The ruins stretched endlessly, their walls etched with glowing symbols that pulsed faintly. Clara couldn't help but feel a mix of awe and unease. "This must be Valen," she whispered, recalling details from the stolen files. "An ancient civilization far older than the Council." Ethan led his team ahead, weapons drawn, while Lucas stayed close to Clara. Together, they explored the labyrinthine corridors, searching for answers. Along the way, they encountered automated defense systems, floating drones that fired beams of light at intruders. With quick thinking and teamwork, they managed to disable them, though not without injuries. Finally, they reached a massive chamber filled with holographic displays. Clara approached one cautiously, her fingers brushing against the control panel. To her amazement, the display activated, showing images of the Valens, a proud, advanced species wiped out by betrayal within their own alliance. Their story mirrored humanity's current plight: used, exploited, and ultimately destroyed by those who sought power. At the center of the room stood a pedestal holding a strange device, the Nexus Core. It hummed softly, radiating an otherworldly energy. Clara's eyes widened as she read the inscription below it. "This can amplify any species' technology," she explained. "It's exactly what we need to stand a chance against the Council." But activating the core wasn't simple. The controls required solving a complex puzzle tied to human cognition. Clara worked tirelessly, piecing together patterns and sequences. Hours passed, and frustration mounted. Just when it seemed impossible, something clicked. The core lit up, bathing the room in golden light. Suddenly, alarms blared throughout the ruins. Automated defenses sprang to life, forcing the group to fight their way back to the ships. Maya ran alongside Clara, shielding her from falling debris. "You did it," Maya shouted over the noise. "Now let's get out of here." As they escaped, the Nexus Core's activation triggered a chain reaction. Energy waves rippled outward, disrupting all nearby technology, including the Council fleet lying in wait above the planet. Explosions rocked the sky as enemy ships plummeted, their systems overloaded. Back aboard the EOS Asterisk, Clara collapsed into a chair, exhausted but triumphant. They had done the impossible. But as Lucas looked at her pale face, he knew the cost of survival was high. For now, though, they had hope, and a weapon powerful enough to change the galaxy forever. The victory came at a heavy price. As the EOS Asterisk and the Shadow Fox Asterisk broke free from the planet's atmosphere, the crew could see the aftermath of the Nexus Core's activation. Council ships floated lifelessly in space, their systems fried by the energy pulse. But the fleet hadn't escaped unscathed. Both ships were battered, their hulls scorched and engines sputtering. Worse still, the ruins' automated defenses had inflicted devastating losses. Among the fallen was Communications Officer Mia Dawson, who had sacrificed herself to destroy a key enemy stronghold during their retreat. Clara sat slumped in her chair on the bridge, her face pale and streaked with dirt. She clutched the data chip tightly in one hand, its weight feeling heavier than ever. The activation of the Nexus Core had drained her physically and mentally, leaving her barely able to stand. Lucas knelt beside her, his voice soft but firm. "You saved us, Clara," he said. "But we're not done yet. We need you." She nodded weakly, though her eyes were distant. "It's not over," she whispered. "The Council will regroup. They'll come after us harder next time." Ethan's voice crackled over the comms. "We've got incoming. More Council reinforcements are jumping in." His tone was urgent, but there was no panic, just determination. "We need to move now." The crew sprang into action, working together despite their exhaustion. Ryan Keller, guilt-ridden after his earlier doubts, pushed himself harder than anyone, patching up critical systems aboard the EOS Asterisk. "I'm not letting them take us down," he muttered under his breath as sparks flew around him. For the first time, his focus wasn't on questioning their mission. It was on survival. Lucas barked orders, keeping everyone focused. "Set course for the edge of the system. Ethan, cover our flank." The Shadow Fox Asterisk darted ahead, firing at the newly arrived Council ships. Its smaller size made it harder to hit, and Ethan used every trick he knew to buy the EOS Asterisk time to escape. Back on the EOS Asterisk, Clara forced herself to stay awake, guiding the crew through emergency protocols. Her hands trembled as she entered commands into the ship's console, rerouting power to keep the engines running. "We can't let them catch us," she said hoarsely. "Not now." The battle raged on, with Ethan's ship taking heavy fire. One of his crew members screamed as a blast tore through the hull, but Ethan didn't flinch. He gritted his teeth and kept pushing forward, drawing the enemy's attention away from the *EOS*. "Go!" he shouted into the comms. "Get out of here." Finally, the *EOS* reached the edge of the system. With one last burst of speed, it jumped into hyperspace, leaving the chaos behind. Ethan followed moments later, his ship trailing smoke but still intact. When they emerged on the other side, the crew erupted into cheers, but it was short-lived. The cost of their escape was clear. On the medical deck, Clara lay unconscious, her body overwhelmed by the strain of activating the Nexus core. Lucas refused to leave her side, holding her hand as the doctors worked tirelessly to stabilize her. "She's strong," he told himself. "She has to be." Ethan joined him later, leaning against the doorway. "She did good," he said gruffly. "Better than any of us expected." Lucas nodded, his jaw tight. "She gave us a fighting chance. Now it's up to us to make sure it counts." As the ships drifted through the quiet emptiness of space, the survivors began to process what they'd lost and what they'd gained. The Nexus core was theirs, a weapon capable of turning the tide against the Council. But it had come at a terrible cost. Clara's sacrifice weighed heavily on everyone's minds, even as hope flickered faintly in their hearts. For now, they were alive, and as long as they drew breath, they would fight. For humanity, for freedom, and for the truth that could no longer stay hidden. Days passed, and Clara finally woke up. Her body ached, and her mind felt foggy, but she was alive. When she opened her eyes, she saw Lucas sitting beside her bed, his face etched with relief. "You had us worried," he said softly. Clara tried to sit up, but Lucas gently pushed her back down. "Take it easy," he urged. "You did something incredible, but you need to rest." She nodded weakly, her thoughts swirling. The Nexus core was safe, and they had escaped the Council. For now. But the fight was far from over. "What happens next?" she asked. Lucas hesitated before answering. "We head back to Earth. We warned them about the Council's plans. If we can rally humanity, maybe we can build an alliance strong enough to stand against them." Ethan overheard their conversation and stepped into the room. His usual swagger was gone, replaced by a look of quiet determination. "If you're going to Earth, I'm coming with you," he said firmly. "The Syndicate owes the Council some payback. And besides, your people are going to need all the help they can get." Clara managed a small smile. "Thank you, Ethan." With Clara recovering, the crew focused on preparing for the journey home. The *EOS* and the *Shadow Fox* limped through space, their damaged systems slowly being repaired. Ryan Keller worked tirelessly alongside Ethan's engineers, proving himself in ways that earned him newfound respect from the team. Even Maya's death weighed less heavily on him now. He had honored her sacrifice by keeping the ship flying. When they reached Earth's orbit, the sight of their blue planet brought tears to many eyes. It was a reminder of what they were fighting for, a world worth protecting. Clara stood on the bridge, leaning on Lucas for support as she gazed at the view. "It's beautiful," she murmured. "We can't let the Council take this away from us." Lucas addressed the crew, his voice steady and full of resolve. "This isn't just our fight anymore. It's humanity's fight. The Council lied to us, used us, and tried to destroy us. But we're still here. Together, we'll show them that we won't go down without a fight." As the ships descended toward Earth, news of their arrival spread quickly. Crowds gathered, eager to hear what the returning heroes had to say. Clara stepped onto the stage set up near the landing site, her legs trembling but her voice strong. She held up the data chip, its contents now shared with key leaders across the globe. "The Galactic Council betrayed us," she declared. "But we have the power to change our destiny. We have the Nexus core and the truth." Her words ignited a spark in the hearts of those listening. People cheered, vowing to stand united against the Council's tyranny. Governments pledged resources, scientists volunteered to study the core, and ordinary citizens prepared for whatever lay ahead. Ethan watched from the sidelines, impressed by the unity he saw. "Looks like you've got your rebellion," he said to Lucas with a smirk. Lucas nodded, his expression serious. "This is only the beginning." Far away in the shadowy chambers of the Galactic Council, whispers of humanity's defiance began to spread. Fear crept into the minds of the council members. They had underestimated Earth once, but they wouldn't make that mistake again. For Lucas, Clara, and their allies, the road ahead would be long and dangerous. But as they looked out at the faces of determined humans ready to fight for their freedom, they knew one thing for certain: the galaxy would never be the same again.